Hi, I'm Lee Orians with Heritage Cooperative out of the Upper Sandusky location. Today we're going to talk about soybean inoculation. There's a few reasons why a person should use inoculation. Number one, it takes 4 to 6 pounds of nitrogen to produce a bushel of soybeans. So if you're raising 50 bushel beans, that's 200 to 300 pounds of N. If you're after 80 bushel beans, that's a lot more N. Well, there's 3 different ways soybeans get nitrogen. One of them is from organic sources. One of them is from residual sources that's left over from previous year's corn crop, for instance. Or they fix their own using nitrogen fixing bacteria to produce their own. It's a symbiotic relationship with the soybeans where the soybean releases sugars, feed the bacteria, which help produce nitrogen that in turn feeds back to the soybeans. Several ways we can lose that bacteria. Flooding can damage the bacteria and kill the bacteria, so we need to add more back in. High pHs, low pHs, extreme weather conditions, whether it be hot or cold, can kill that bacteria that we actually need. There's an abundance of bacteria in the soil. The key is to get the right bacteria on a soybean to help nodulation. So that's why we put inoculant on seed when we're planting, so we have an overabundance of the right bacteria to make the soybean produce nodules, produce its own nitrogen. Today I have Jim Pullins with Verdisian here, and Jim helps us with our inoculant needs. Preside Ultra has fixed us up with treatment, or fixed our treaters up so we can put inoculant on without wasting the inoculant. They have a nice closed system that we can use what we need to use rather than mixing a batch and having to use the whole batch at once. So nice to have you with us, Jim.
Thank you. So Lee, if you're calling on one of your customers and you're talking to him about seed and the treatments he needs and the inoculants, and he says, I'm in a 2-year rotation, I really don't need to inoculate, how do you answer that question for him?
Well, I just point out the variation that everybody has in their fields around here. I mean, you've got high ground, low ground, high pHs, low pHs. We've had some ponding going on from year to year. So we never know if the bacteria is there that we need and if it's the right quantity. So for less than a bushel per acre, you can ensure you get the right type of bacteria in a high enough amount that you're going to help that soybean produce as many nodules as it possibly can to help it produce its own nitrogen.
So help me understand, you said the right type of bacteria. What do you mean the right type? Is it inoculant?
No, it's a certain type of bacteria that has that produces the nodules to help the soybean produce nitrogen. And not all bacteria is the same. You may have some residual bacteria left out here, but its strength of it may not be as strong as what we could put on the seed. So that's why we want to put it on the seed when a guy plants, to have the healthiest bacteria out here of the right type.
So by covering those areas in the fields, he's getting more consistency across his field, or is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's kind of like milking a range cow. I mean, you can pull a cow off a pasture and milk it, but is it really the highest producing milk that you can do without feeding that cow the right food?
Mm-hmm.
So
good point.
It also produces efficiencies within the plant. Think about a corn plant when you don't put enough nitrogen to it. What's it look like? It's yellow, it's straggly. The same goes with a bean plant, except the bean plant needs to produce its own nitrogen. So it helps it stand better, helps it set more pods. Overall, just makes the plant look a lot healthier and grow quicker, gets it up out of the ground quicker with the growth promoters that are in inoculant. So we may see a 1-2 day advantage in emergence over non-inoculated. And it helps utilize the phosphorus and the potash and the micronutrients that you have available to that plant. It helps the plant fight off stresses, so droughts or hot weather. The plant can work through that a little better as long as it has the nutrients that it needs, and nitrogen is that key nutrient to help soybeans produce top yields. So to produce top yielding soybeans, I mean, that's what it's all about. And then there's a lot of products out here that say they'll help you produce higher yields. One of the most overlooked ones is the simple biological of inoculant. I mean, it's proven that there's yield increase by adding inoculant to soybeans. So, start simple and work your way up, but don't overlook the inoculant.